Oh, you can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, we can still
Okay.
see your screen. Now
I
we
didn't
can. That's
want
good.
you to see my share.
I
So
thought you
now,
might not want.
okay, so now I'm using another laptop, and I'm just trying to figure out how to use this stuff here. Okay.
Blur my background. I'm having a hard time blurring my background on this app. Well, maybe I'll choose a different camera.
Okay. 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 Hello, dear friends. We are happy to see you today. We are organizing this very nice academic event for all the seafarers who are on board vessel in long voyages due to pandemics. You will see today professional advice from medic representative and also very interesting presentations from the academic body. I will start today session by introducing some of our guests. I hope you can see them in the stream live. We have near us Vili Vitek from Bremen, Ilona Denishenko from Russia, Alexandra Bedița from Romania, and Gillian Carson from Australia. So we have a lot of very diverse guests all around the world. And I will start my first presentation by sharing the slides from my current study. We are doing a slide on maritime resilience and safety, but in very short time you will see the slides. Can you see the slides? Alexandra, can you help me with this? Can you confirm you can see my slides?
No, we can see the videos only. We can stream the live streaming.
Okay. Well, it seems we have some technical issues from here, but no problem. Alexandra, can you start your presentation of today?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. It's an honor to be here with you today. I'm also going to try to share my presentation. Let's see if it works this time.
So Alexandra Bedița is a storytelling and creativity expert. She is also the director of regional director of Global Women Club from Bucharest, and she will discuss about building resilience for maritime crew members.
Thank you for the introduction. Please let me know if you can now see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so I would like to start this presentation exactly with the question, what is resilience? Because this is the topic for today's event. And I think it's important to understand what is exactly this resilience that we're talking about. And I want to invite you first to imagine this tree. Look at this tree. It's beautiful, tall, green, and it stands in its own right. It looks like it's proud to be there, right? And then have a look at this tree. It's looking a little bit sad. It is a little bit lonely. It doesn't have that many leaves, not green anymore, and it looks like, it could use a little bit of love. But if you look at them together, do you think this is the same tree? Because this is how resilience looks like in nature. We can see in nature that the trees are actually strong. They stand strong. They stand in their own right, no matter what comes over them, whether it's rain, storms, the snow, anything that happens. They go through the seasons, and they are first green in the spring and during the summer. Then they start to lose their leaves, and then they start to be completely empty during the winter. But then they're resilient, and they come back even stronger the next spring. What can we learn from this? Because most of the times nature can be our best teacher. In positive psychology, resilience is known as the ability to cope with whatever life throws at you. It doesn't mean that we are trying to avoid the stress and the adversities that life has in store for us. It means that we are bouncing back. And many times, resilience is known as bouncing back. It means that people may be knocked down by life, and especially in this industry where in the case that we're talking today for seafarers who are at sea for a very long time, they are facing these situations, but they can come back even stronger. They learn how to cope. They build this resilience to cope with the situation that they're in. This graphic shows that there are many components when it comes to resilience. And very many times we see that some people can be more resilient than others. Some people can feel defeated easier and they want to give up, while some others are more optimistic. But this is only because resilience is a practice, and we can learn resilience. We can learn to build this strength and this inner ability. Without adversity, we wouldn't have resilience, right? So this is why adversity is part of the resilience component. Because if life was just blank, like nothing would happen and we wouldn't have any stresses, anything negative happening, we wouldn't need to build these coping mechanisms. But with life experience and adversities that come our way, we start to build this strength. Positive adaptation is also something that is a really big component of resilience. And this is exactly what we're talking about when it comes to being resilient and bouncing back and learning to build that inner strength, that inner ability to face the situations that we're in and reframe it and start to take the best out of it. It's important to practice resilience. Very many times we think that, well, I'm not resilient and that's it. We think that is just something that we have or we don't have. But just like many of our abilities, this is a muscle that we can practice and we can strengthen. So the more we practice resilience, the better we get. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being a completely strong, unbended tree all the time. It's about making progress. It's about learning that no matter how many times the wind blows and we bend, we're not going to be broken. So we're learning to make progress and to become more resilient one step at a time. It's important in times of adversities to know our strengths, especially when life gets tough, because we sometimes lose our confidence. We forget that we have so many abilities inside of us. We have so many resources inside of us, and we completely feel defeated. So just stay curious in tough times. Always try to look at the situation in a new perspective with curious eyes, asking questions and trying to see the positive side, trying to see the silver lining. Because even a negative situation can turn into a lesson and can turn into something that we can learn from. So I have a few exercises that might come very useful for different types of situations, different types of adversities that can happen throughout life, and especially for seafarers by being for a long time at sea. This first exercise is called the 4S exercise, where we're looking at some coping mechanisms, and its purpose is to develop the awareness that we have when it comes to how we adapt to negative situations, and how we cope with them. So this exercise is best done if we think about a situation that we have overcome in the past, and we start looking at the things that we have done in order for us to move forward. Or we can also use it while we are going through a situation, and we take notes in order to develop and practice this resilience with enhanced awareness. So let's say, for instance, that we talk about the situation of, let's say, the low quality of food on board. And we're looking at 4 different categories for coping mechanisms. We're talking about supports, strategies, sayings, and solutions. So let's say, for instance, that one support that we feel that might help us when we are facing this situation, that it makes us feel frustrated, and we feel like we don't even want to go to the lunch, or we don't even want to take a break for eating dinner because the food is really, really bad. So how can we find some support? What works for us? Maybe having a conversation with a friend on board. What are some strategies that we can put into place in order to release some of that tension and some of that frustrations and anxieties that start to build up? Because most of the times in adversity and negative situations, there are small things that are piling up, and it's not just one thing that causes that negative situation. So maybe sometimes our frustration comes because we're very tired. So maybe we need to get more sleep. Maybe if we only take 10 minutes for some physical exercise, this will increase the dopamine in our bodies and we will feel a little bit better. Or maybe taking some time for a morning meditation. What are some things that we can say to ourselves? Maybe something along the way, this is very broad here in the example, this too shall pass, and if I have done it in the past, I can do it now. Maybe think about what would be a positive thing that you can associate your lunch break with. Maybe think about that this is your opportunity to relax and chat with some of your friends on board. What is it that you can say to yourself in order to shift your focus from the negative aspect of the situation into something positive? What could be a solution that you can take? Maybe ask a crew member or leader for guidance, maybe file a complaint. Find something that you can make a step so that at least you feel that you have done something in that direction. It's important to pay attention to what is really working for you when it comes to looking at these 4 S's: supports, strategies, sayings, and solutions. This is why taking notes will help you, because the next time when you encounter a similar situation, you can go back and check these notes and see what has worked before and start building on that. Start using these coping mechanisms to get back on track. Another exercise is a visualization exercise that you can use, because very many times when we feel that we are in a negative situation, we feel defeated. We feel that our problem is so big and overwhelming, and we just want to hide, and we just feel that it's really, really taking over our entire life. So this exercise is about visualizing ourselves and having a bird's eye view, like closing your eyes and seeing yourself in the room, and then starting to slowly zoom out and seeing yourself, your body in the space where you are, then seeing the building or the ship that you're on, seeing the entire space with water, the ocean, and then start seeing the state, the continent, and looking that the world is so big. There are so many people that have so many problems. How big is your problem really? Can you see that perhaps in a bigger perspective, your problem is not that overwhelming? Can you deal with it easier now that you can look at it from this different way? Perhaps give it a try and see how it feels for you. And if this looks like a good strategy for you, you can practice it when you feel that there's a negative situation and that you feel defeated, anxious, and you need some resilience resources. Another exercise is knowing your strengths. I was mentioning earlier how important it is to know your strengths, to know what are your positive abilities and what are your strongest points, so that whenever something happens that you don't know how to sort it out, then you find that strength inside of you. So you can try to make a list of your strengths, write them down, think about the positive things that you have inside of you. Think about what people say about you that they're thanking you for. Think about what your friends, your family is saying about you, that they're happy when you help them with something. Make a list of all those strengths. If you find it difficult, perhaps you can try this exercise with a colleague, another crew member, and make an exchange of lists. You can write a list of their strength, and they can write a list of your strengths, and then exchange it. And then make sure that you have that list close by, so that whenever you feel, again, overwhelmed and you need a little bit of boost in your resilience, then you can go back to this list and check it out and see, well, you know what? I actually have some really good abilities that I can use to get myself back. And these are really important when it comes to bouncing back, coming back even stronger. Now, circling back to our tree, because I wanted to make sure that you stay with this metaphor and with this comparison, because in nature we have so many lessons. This tree exercise is about visualizing this tree and imagining the obstacles that it goes through. Like I was saying, the weather, the seasons, the wind, the storms, the snow, the everything that happens to this tree is something that we can look at, like the life experiences that happen in our lives. And start writing down about the obstacles that you have overcome in the past. Maybe focus on one that you are very proud of yourself, that you have really gotten out of it and you have learned something. What was that lesson? What abilities did you develop when you were bouncing back from that situation? And what did it show to you about yourself? Maybe during the process of overcoming something negative, you learned that you have even more strengths than you thought. So make time for this exercise so that you understand that resilience is already a resource inside of you, and you can still build it, you can still develop it even more. Remember, it's about practicing and it's about taking small steps of progress, because we don't want to expect perfection. It's really about being a little bit more resilient every time when we go through something negative. And just keep this in mind, that whenever something bad comes your way, life is actually happening for you. There's always a lesson. Life is not happening to you. It's not happening to make your existence harder, but it's happening for you. Thank you very much.
That's really great. Thank you, Alexandra. Very great presentation. I have some questions from you. It's a question from my students, in fact. They are asking me how can they do coaching while they are on board vessel?
Yes, absolutely. It's really important to develop this relationship to make sure that you listen to one another. So, for instance, one exercise would be to have a conversation, a private conversation with another person, and ask them what is going on and listen. Just listen. Don't start giving advice. Don't start giving your opinion. Just listen to what they have to say. It's one of the biggest abilities that a coach has, to actively listen. And then ask them questions. Ask them genuine questions about what they're going through and how they think they should solve that problem. In coaching, we don't give advice and we don't solve the person's problems. We just support them to find the best solution. So, for instance, if you see that someone is going through something difficult and you want to help them, then you can go and say, "Hi, would you like to have a conversation about this? Can I help you in any way?" If they ask for your direct advice, you can give it to them. Otherwise, ask them what is the problem and how do they think it's the best way to solve it. Support them to find that solution.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much for your reply. I see other questions in the chat session. So, dear guests, you can use the chat from the YouTube. The YouTube is generated on the mytimeconferences.online website, and we are waiting for your answers and opinions and ideas as well, obviously, as well with your questions, and would be really great to be able to see you. We have together with us another important person from the maritime sector. She's from Canberra. She's from Australia, and her name is Gillian Carson. Gillian, can you see us? Can you discuss with us?
Hello, yes, I'm here from Canberra, Australia. So it's wonderful to be able to participate in this event, and that was a wonderful presentation. I really liked, especially the thought of identifying your strengths. And I guess one of my questions might be, how can you identify strengths? We're often very good at saying what we do badly. We're not usually very good at identifying in ourselves what we do well. So, what would be some advice on how to think about our strengths?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. First, we can do the exercise, as I was mentioning, with a partner and with someone else who can maybe see our strengths better. Sometimes it's easier to see the strength in other persons than in ourselves. That's very true. And the other thing would be to have every day to write in our journal, to write on a piece of paper one thing, one quality that we see in ourselves, just one. And then over time to see how these things start to build up. I think as human beings, we are very much tempted to always criticize ourselves, and especially that voice in our head that says that we don't know this and we don't know that and we're not good enough. But starting to practice with small steps, even if it's just one strength, one quality. Perhaps asking someone in our family, what do they think is our best quality? Perhaps asking a friend, what do you think is the best quality? What do you like more in myself? And then from there, starting to pay more attention and at what we can do best and what we are good at. Maybe it's something like the activities, the skills that we have, and maybe it's something like the inner abilities. Maybe I'm a good listener. If people come to me to talk to me because I'm a good listener, or maybe it's because I make people feel welcome, or just thinking about what others are finding in ourselves, seeing ourselves from the perspective of someone else, and starting from there with small steps. I hope this helps.
Are there any other questions for Alexandra? So I'm looking in the chat. I see there are plenty of persons watching us right now. I thank Bianca and Petronella and Anna Maria for meeting us, and Ionuț for meeting us here. And I would like to further, also some very nice greeting from Jinky from Korea. Thank you. We are waiting for all your questions, and we have here a lot of persons that would really like to give you their opinion, their perspective, their advice. Yeah, would be really great. Meanwhile, I am preparing a nice, interesting presentation from Dr. Ilona. If she's around, Ilona, can you hear us? Can you tell us some things?
Yes, my dear. Good morning.
Okay, we can see you. That's great. Okay, how is the weather in Russia?
Snowing. It's really Christmas spirit.
Oh, that's great. So I've met Ilona when I was in 2018 in Geneva at the headquarters of the International Labour Organization. And she did a very great job during the MLC Maritime Labour Convention discussions, the tripartite discussions. Ilona, can you tell us what was your input back then?
Well, as I remember how we met, and at that time, we were trying to fight for the right of the women seafarers, which is still a big issue, unfortunately.
Yes, indeed.
And at that time, I was the president of the International Maritime Health Association, and since the beginning, the association was established in 1997. We were trying, to gain this question, and to protect, especially, the health and well-being of the women seafarers on board.
Yes, I understand. And meanwhile, you were back then the president of an important association, as I remember.
No, I was 2 terms. Now I passed the flag to Dr. Rob Verbist from Belgium, because I think 2 terms, it's, to be more, it's not democratic. So the association now in very good hands. So now I was just elected the president of East Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And we start this new project. I most probably will talk about this a bit later, about MareNet network. It's about the research in maritime medicine.
Okay. Please confirm if you can see your presentation.
Yes, I see the photo.
Oh, that's great. Let's hear it. I think you cannot hear the presentation, right? I would, yeah, I would try again to run the presentation.
It was very good with the subtitles. It was very good as well, though, so we were able to read it as well. Unfortunately, the sound cut out.
Right. Yeah, right.
Subtitles were really good.
What about now?
3,000 seafarers.
Yes, it works now.
Today, only 46 countries recognize and classified seafarers as a key workers. It's simply not enough. And I would like to address here the governments of those countries who do not still recognize the seafarers as the key workers. You have to understand that they work essential to move the goods across the globe, which we really need now with all the lockdown and the traveling restrictions. Our seafarers are moving food, medical supply, and masks and fuel. We really need to help them. The International Labour Organization Committee of Experts has sent a very strong message to the government that they have failed in the duties of care towards seafarers under international law during the COVID-19 pandemic. All governments have to follow international law and urgently recognize seafarers as key workers with practical impact. This means allowing seafarers to get off in the ports for the medical attention. We have an absolutely terrible stories when the seafarers were sick with different diseases not linked to the COVID-19, and they will deny the medical help, they will deny disembarkation, and in some cases, the delay will leading to the invalidization. And the seafarers will be not able to continue working on board on ships, and should never be, and it should never happen again. We all have to be human, we have to be reasonable, but we have to think about the consequences of the decision taken from the person in the port authorities who let or let not the person to be accepted to the local clinic. It means that enabling seafarers to go to the airports to fly home when the contracts are finished. It means the letting replacement crew through a country borders to join those waiting ships without having to battle a mountain of bureaucracy. There are so many stories how the seafarers are traveling to reach their ship. For example, from Kaliningrad, they flying to Moscow. From Moscow, they're taking taxi. Imagine taxi from Moscow to Belarus to Minsk. From Minsk, they sometimes crossing the borders on foot, or they taking another flight. Of course, with the current situation and the pandemic, there is a risk to get infected during the flight. So I really would like to remind you again, please, when you wear a mask, be sure that the mask is covering your mouth and covering your nose and cheek. When I see the mask like that and the mask like that, I almost want to kill. It's almost a year since the beginning of pandemic, but unfortunately 80% of the population still cannot wear the mask properly. And there is a big problem. So the transportation, as I mentioned, linked to many areas, and airlines may have their own individual requirements for testing prior to boarding on aircraft. So the recruiting companies, for those who is buying the tickets for seafarers, be sure that it's much longer waiting time in the airports if the person needs to take this test. So please don't let 1 or 2 hours in between the flights, because then it can be difficult. And when the person loses plane, nobody really knows when it will be the next one. As I mentioned before, hundreds of thousands of seafarers has already exceeded or in the process of exceeding the length of their tour of duty on board. And this has a very negative impact on seafarers' psychological and physical well-being. In addition, the extended period on board may have affected the ability to source and renew prescription for long-term medication. So for those who is just going to the vessel, I would like to ask you if you're taking any medications on the daily basis, like the blood pressure medication, be sure that you take some extra boxes with you. I always ask him to take for 2 months. Additionally, now most probably 6 to 8 months. It's not taking a lot of place in your luggage, but remember that if you discontinue taking the medications, it will be really dangerous and put at risk your health and your life. If you're running out of the medications while already being on ship, please don't hesitate. You have to call your master or the chief officer, and they will be able to order this medication from ashore. Be sure that you be able most probably to contact your general practitioner, and this doctor will be able to issue a prescription when it will be stated the exact name and the exact dosage of the medication, because the medicine can vary in the different countries. Also, when you're traveling and you carrying the medications with you, it's also very important to have a prescription, because with these restrictions we're facing with COVID-19 pandemic, some countries which were historically very strict with carrying medications with you, it's more strict now, like different Arab countries. So not to be in the situation that the medication will be revoked and you will stay without the required medicine. Please ask your doctor to issue a very simple prescription and carry it with you. The same I would like to mention concerning glasses. Take an extra pair with you, because if it will be broken, it's hard to order them now. If you're wearing lenses, take some extra lenses and some extra liquid to wash these lenses. It's quite important. One of the most important person on board after the master, most probably, is the cook. And here, especially when the seafarers are trapped on ship for more than 11 months, the cultural difference can be really crucial. Imagine like the cook is from Philippines and the crew is from Russia. So the Russians, after a few days, they will really complain that they cannot eat so much rice. Or vice versa, if the cook is Ukrainian and the crew is from India, the Indians will require rice. So we were discussing this again and again, and maybe now it's really the time to make these ideas a reality, kind of hotline or consultation line or the cooking book for the ships. We have the International Medical Guide for ships, so why not to produce International Cooking Guide for the ships, which it will be presenting different, recipes from the different countries, which will satisfy the different cultures on board. Because it's not only eating habits, it can lead to the mental disbalance if continues for quite a long time. I would like to remind you about the necessity to check the vaccination booklet, because unfortunately with COVID-19 we somehow forget that the other infection diseases exist in this world. So please remember about meningitis, especially in Africa with a meningitis belt. the vaccination about the yellow fever, the vaccination for diphtheria and tetanus, always to remember that the deck is a place with a high injury risk. Now, some countries are requested changes in the yellow book for the yellow fever vaccination, and this is absolutely unacceptable because the WHO stated very clear that nothing should be changed in this booklet, that all notes and all the vaccinations done in the past are valid now for the life of person vaccinated. And no stamps, no extra notes, no extra signatures should be there. Please, because the seafarers sometimes traveling to the clinic just to get this note, which is absolutely not necessary. We have to think about the possibility maybe we will have the person sick with COVID-19 on board. Okay, we're trying to make it almost non-possible with the quarantine, with the testing, but it's still possible. I had 2 weeks ago the master of the yacht working for one tourist company en route from Sicily to Turkey. He got a really, acute COVID, and even being a young and healthy gentleman, he ended up in the hospital in Turkey. Greece denied to accept him as a patient to the hospital. He was denied disembarkation, and we were really counting, those few tablets of dexamethasone, aspirin, and a few tablets of antibiotic you find in his medical chest. So should it be a special kit for cases like that, including maybe the rapid test for the rapid diagnosis and some testing for C-reactive protein or procalcitonin, which exist in the rapid forms, which will easy very much work of radio medical advice. We have to train our radio medical advice to be able to consult this patient. So there is so many questions, and I would like also to mention that the seafarers have to think about their health themselves as well. They have to train. The minimum physical activities on board is really very important. Who have to take care about this? A master, the chief officer, or a bosun? Maybe it will be also kind of coaching from outside. I know that IPF and ISWAN have absolutely perfect programs. So please do this. Also think that not only seafarers are now in the situation when they locked on board, their families at home, sometimes now with this new lockdown having absolutely the same things, and maybe our seafarers in the better position because they're able to see the eternal blue around. So we have to be patient. It's already 1 year. We really don't know how long it will take. The vaccination with different anti-COVID vaccines started in the different countries. We will see the outcome because it's still the 3rd phase of the trial. But let's hope that everything will be working. We are approaching the very nice season. It's a season of festivity. It's Christmas, New Year. This year it will be really very strange. We never faced something like that before. But I would like to wish you all first a very good health. Please stay healthy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lona. Very nice presentation. Okay, I'm back to you. Okay. So Ilona is here. If you have questions for Ilona, for Dr. Ilona Denishenko from Russia, she is there to answer to them. I've spotted one question. Hello, what medical problems can happen at the sea? You already mentioned. Let's move on. It was another question on the chat on the YouTube. Okay, how can doctors protect themselves when they have to go on board? Unmute your microphone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I really apologize that you saw my presentation twice.
Yes.
Look, I was repeating and repeated again and again. COVID is not a plague. So I was wearing this, astronaut suits in the beginning. You really need them when you're working in the red zone, when you're surrounded by the COVID patients and the virus load is very high. The most important part is to protect your airways, mouth and nose, and to protect your eyes. So if the doctor visiting the ship will just wear the respirator, what is sometimes making the life easy, that you put the respirator and on top the simple mask, which is very easy to change, and the protecting glasses. With the shields, it's still very much discussable. So I think just the glasses, a mask, you wash your hands, and from time to time you just follow the simple rules how you have to remove the mask and wash your glasses with the soap and the hot water. I think this is enough.
Ilona, we have another comment here. Wearing too much the mask will make lung failure. What's your opinion on that?
Well, the mask should be changed. So you cannot wear the same mask, 10 or 12 hours, because our mouth and our airways is full of different bacteria. In general, in the total of our body is living around 2 kilograms of different bacteria and viruses. So when we constantly wear the mask, we just, somehow moving these bacteria back and forth. So quite often now, especially among the doctors, we see some disturbance in the throat, and this is due to this. Really, you have to change the mask every 3-4 hours. This is, it's difficult. I know that it's better to be protected.
Okay. Thank you very much. They are also talking about personal distance, working exercise, especially workout. Okay. We have a hello from George Plater. He will also join shortly with us. We are saying George hello. He is on board vessel and he had some quite difficulties to send his message on via WhatsApp or other social media, but I hope by the end of our event we can see his message. Okay, because there are no other questions, I would like to continue with the further presentation, and I need only your confirmation whether you are able to hear the sound or not.
As friends, co-workers, and colleagues.
Yes, sound.
They have been named as key workers. Seafarers are key workers, and that is for a good reason. Well, now I know some of us are trapped on board many months, and it is a little bit tough what is going on, but we need to move over. It is our time to be the ones who deliver the supply, the food, and the well-being all around the world. So try to tame yourself, try to be strong. And I have prepared some of the tricks that I'm using when I'm at sea for many months in order to keep myself in balance. We might be in this place here for a long, long time, but we have to appreciate it as it keeps ourselves still seafarers. As nowadays we have all the means to communicate with our families and to receive news from outside. Think about the back days when the seafarers were trapped on board years and years. Now life is a little bit simple, so let's appreciate it. First thing that I do when I am so many months at sea is to enhance my knowledge in seamanship. Here on board, I have plenty books which I don't have home, so I can open them and step up a little bit. If you want to fight the fire, use the fire. So keep your mind busy. And by the end of the contract, you will be the best version of yourself. Now it's the time to move on. Now it's the time to be one step ahead of the seafarers which are home. Second thing that I do, although it might not be 100% recommended, is to build up a routine. I'm trying to put on autopilot the things that help me on a daily basis at my job, and they are strongly repeating themselves in order to be ready for any kind of risky situation. I know that life at sea may be unpredictable. That's why we need to be 24/7 on call. So try to spare some energy from the things that are repeating day by day and to prepare yourself for the things that are yet to come. Developing new habits is also a very good idea. Also, some new skills are yet welcomed, like maybe you want to learn how to play the guitar, maybe you want to know how to do origami, maybe you want to start reading some belletristic books that home you don't have time for. So, my coworkers on board, many skills can be developed. Try to learn a different language, a different culture, try to become the best version that you can be, also outside of the job. In order to keep my spirit and my mind clean, I try to pray and practice meditation. There is by far the best method to believe in something and to think positive. But motivation is like shower. You have to practice daily. Daily routine, you have to pray or to meditate at least 5 minutes. Take that time to make a little bit of mindfulness, to be present and to understand what is going on around you. It is one of the best opportunities to have a moment with yourself, to have a moment of faith, to have a moment of positivity. Reading or keeping a diary, even that the book might not be a written one, I'm usually taking with me a full library when I'm going on board. You might listen to some very nice audiobooks, take some notes, and have some good time, quality time that you can organize yourself. Also, keeping a diary helps a lot. Writing down the things that made your day, the things that help you to overcome some stressful situation, writing down your feelings and your jobs, it might help you to keep a very, very good track of the things that are helping you to move over. Watching movies or playing video games, this is a good idea as well. Try to have at least once per week a moment where to disconnect from the workload, where to disconnect from the problems. And watching a movie is the easiest thing, but it might not be a good idea if this will make you more tired. Like, for instance, we are watching a lot of monitors every day as officers, and we might be a little bit more tired after watching a movie or playing video games. I know that some of the video games can be addictive, so try to keep it at a manageable level. Try to keep it at a level that will keep your brain clear. At that point where it helps you and it doesn't distract you from your daily routine, from your work, and so on. My last tip is the one that I'm practicing it on a daily basis. It's stretching or practicing sports. I am going to the gym 6 days a week. And even though I'm running around maybe 10,000 steps per day during my overtime or on my bridge routine or in the duty or whatever the ship demands in the drills and so on, I'm still practicing sports. I'm still stretching my body because it helps a lot to have a clear mind. It helps you focus, it helps you concentrate, and it keeps you active. On board, you have to be active because you never know what is going to happen in the next minute. So try to keep a good body, try to keep a good spirit, and don't forget to hydrate and to eat good and clean food. I simply hope that all these simple tips, if you do them at least once per day, maybe once in 2 days, they are going to help you to keep up a long contract in a healthy manner. And I'm talking this from personal experience because I've been there, done that, as they used to say. But be brave, my comrades. It is our times to be the heroes, as I said, and be proud of the job that we are doing. We are keeping up at this moment the world, and not only this, but we are keeping up our families, we are keeping up our homes. It is tough, but it is a pleasure in the same time. It is an honor, but in the same time a big responsibility to be at sea. The safety of the crew, the safety of the vessel, the safety of the cargo lies on your hands. So try to be the best version that you can be for as many months as needed. And I know it's tough, I know it's hard, but we can do it. We have been through this many times. This will not stop us from being what we studied to be. We studied to be seafarers, and not even many months at sea will stop us from being professionals.
Okay, very nice and energetic presentation from Alexandra. Alexandra, are you with us? Can you hear us?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon from Singapore, actually.
Yes, Alexandra is on board vessel. I did not introduce her because I want her to introduce herself. Tell us a few words about your position on board vessel right now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandra Ciucanu. I am a third officer on board a cruise ship at the moment. Before I was working in cargo, so practically I was part of this supply delivery that everybody is talking about at the moment. My position is third officer. I am officer of the watch. I have the responsibility of keeping the vessel safe. At the moment, we are still in anchorage, but sooner than later, we will be back stronger than ever. So kind of that's it. We are keeping the vessel up. We try to do all the required maintenance, and we try to keep the crew positive and the persons which are home now, because soon we will start. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for your very nice presentation. You have one more. We will see it after. Now I introduce Professor Willy Wittig. He is from Bremen Hochschule, and he is also the president of an important association. Willy, can you hear us?
Yes, indeed, I hear you.
Okay, okay, we can also see you. What is your position in the academics?
I'm actually in charge of the Maritime program, and when it comes to my lecturing commitments, it is the human resource management and maritime psychology.
Okay, that's great. And we have a presentation from you. It's about crew change crisis. Please confirm if you can hear it.
Dear seafarers, dear colleagues, dear ladies and gentlemen.
You can hear it?
My name is Wittig, and I'm speaking to you today as the current president of VDKS, the German Association of shipmasters and nautical ship officers, but also as the one of the IMO Goodwill Maritime Ambassadors. VDKS has been a founder member of both the International Federation of Shipmasters Association, IFSMA, and the Confederation of European Shipmasters Association, CESMA, in 1974 and 1995. As a professional association, we at VDKS present the interest of the active shipmasters and nautical ship officers direct on the national German level and through our membership at CESMA and IFSMA on both the European and international level. Together with the German Association of Marine Engineers, VDSI, we addressed already at the end of April the German government by means of an open letter where we urged the government to engage at the international level with the aim to achieve common procedures facilitating a smooth crew change via dedicated transit ports, to assure that medical care will be provided and the delivery of provision assured in the ports of all port states. At the same time, we reached out to our membership and invited them to share with us on a regular basis COVID-19 related occurrences and crew related situations encountered on board and during port stay. In order to assure that all of our members will get aware and have easy access to all relevant COVID-19 specific publications by international, European, and German authorities, as well as relevant stakeholders, we established at the beginning of May a dedicated Telegram COVID-19 information channel. Being the deputy president of IFSMA, I got myself involved in the weekly high-level meetings between senior members of the IMO Secretariat and representatives of a number of the non-governmental organizations with consultative status at the IMO. These meetings are aiming at facilitating crew change by means of specialized procedures. As from mid-April, we got through the IFSMA Secretariat ourselves engaged in the development of a recommended framework of protocols for ensuring safe crew changes and travel during the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, which received full support from His Excellency Kita Klim, the Secretary General of the IMO. In mid-May, we engaged together with the IFSMA Secretariat and some other national shipmaster associations in advocating the recommendations as detailed in the IMO circular letter number 4204 at 14 of the 5th of May, which contains inter alia recommendations to member states about measures to facilitate ship crew changes in seaports during the COVID-19 pandemic. In May, we became a member of the German Maritime Social Partners weekly virtual roundtable meetings, where representatives of the German Shipowners Association and the German Maritime Union meet with the relevant German authorities, seafarer social welfare organizations, and other relevant stakeholders to share information on the current situation and to look for practical solutions in order to help seafarers while being in any German port or on board any ship owned or managed by German ship owners and/or ship managers. The Secretary General of the United Nations, the International Maritime Organization, the International Labour Organization, and even the Holy Father, Pope Francis, again and again addressed the mental, medical, financial, etc. problems deriving from the crew change crisis for both the seafarers kept on board ship and the seafarers not being able to return on board ship and, of course, the families of these seafarers. The sad truth is that despite all efforts by various national, European, and international leaders, maritime agencies, supranational bodies, and maritime stakeholders, the crew change crisis is still ongoing, with an estimated 400,000 seafarers staying on board ships for an excessive number of months, while about the same number of seafarers are waiting at home to get back on board ship and to resume gainful employment. The various public campaigns by EE, the IMO, ILO, ITF, ICS, Mission to Seafarers, Intermanager, IFSMA, and many, many more, with the aim to raise awareness of the general public, were unfortunately not yet successful. As long as the shelves in the supermarkets are still containing all goods one likes to purchase, and the orders at Amazon, Alibaba, and others are delivered in time to the private homes of all normal citizens, there seems to be no reason why one should be worried or concerned. I'm most grateful to the organizers of today's virtual conference on maritime resilience and coaching, as these conferences can effectively contribute to raising decision makers' awareness of the ongoing problem. The problem that seafarers keep, despite all odds, the merchant fleet afloat, but are in urgent need to get relieved and repatriated to their homes now. My thoughts are in these days when we all enter and prepare for the festive season, with the seafarers who have to celebrate this year far from home on board ship, but also with those seafarers who are desperate to start working on board ship again soon. I hope that the collective efforts of all parties in achieving a workable solution, being able to end the crew change crisis, will be successful pretty soon, and wish all seafarers that they will see a normalization of the situation rather sooner than later. Stay safe and take good care of yourself and your loved ones.
Thank you very much, dear Vili, for your important input and for all the research you are doing in this maritime sector. Okay, we will further wait for comments or questions for Vili or for other guests, and we will see some interesting other research presentation from PhD Miss Alexandra Jefla. She is doing research which is somehow outside the scope of the maritime, but you will understand and you will see why is important the input and the findings she is already gaining within her PhD thesis for the well-being of the seafarers. In fact, her presentation is about the importance of positive words. Her study is in the marketing field, but you will see further the application in every domain, not only in marketing, but also in transports, including in maritime transports.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexandra Jela, and it is a pleasure to be here at the Maritime Coaching Resilience webinar. I want to say thank you to Constanța Maritime University and to Cristina Dragomir for giving me the opportunity to be here. So this presentation might be a bit different from what you expect, but I want to tell you about positive words in marketing. This is a study on the vibrational frequency of marketing words, and it couldn't have been possible to do it without Professor Adriana Manulică and my colleague Ciobănița Antoneta. So as you can see, this is the table of contents of this presentation. I'll start with some theory discussion, followed by the research proposal containing the research purpose, the objectives, methods, instruments, and sample used. Then I'll explain what the experiment consisted of, and I'll share some of the results, finalizing with conclusions. So, theory discussion. We can see that everything that is around us is energy, which can be measured by vibration and frequency. So, from the undetectable photons that are all around and help making the light that you are using, even to see this presentation, to the self from our bodies, everything has a vibration and a frequency. We might perceive everything that we use as way solid than it is, but beneath it, everything lies into a field of vibrating waves and particles. But the question is, are words also energy? Or can they be measured by vibration and frequency? Can we speak about positive and negative words? And these were some questions that we started with, and we continued by adding all this interest to the marketing sphere, especially to those words used in the selling process. So understanding the power of words and their effectiveness is the key of success in life. The words represent the perpetuation of a thought. They have a strong effect on us, even if they are not expressed. So what we think has an impact on the way we live our lives. It influences our emotions, attitudes, and behavior. A spoken phrase has an even greater effect. You can never pull it back. You say it and it will have an impact. Like, for example, we usually tend more to remind certain situations where we had a bad day or a bad outcome of a situation rather than a good one. The same thing happens with the words too. We remind more easily the bad words and the harsh criticism that we get rather than the praise and the positive criticism. So in terms of frequencies of words, it's more of a psychological phenomena where words we see often are more usually recognized and repeated rather than the words we don't see or use. So we tend to use words that are more familiar with. And in terms of positive words and vibration, everybody has a unique vibrational signature. So we can perceive things, emotions, experiences, which falls within our frequency range. For example, there are thoughts, emotions, words which have a higher frequency or can have a lower one. And the lower frequency usually can be met in bad situations when our frequency decreases. So if we're upset or we're in trouble or we're irritated, disappointed, or we worry, and if we pay more attention to this, they have the potential to lower our vibration so much that we can change our personal point of attraction. We can change our vibrational signature, and we can attract people, events, or even circumstances that will cause us even more bad energy. And in terms of marketing, most of advertising tend to use more emotions, or they try to relate a specific brand with a memory that they know that most of the consumers will relate to it, and that will make us buy it because we are going to associate particular sentiments to that product. So usually for attracting more customers in relations to emotions and feelings, most of the companies are using the neuromarketing. And they're trying to see exactly which products and services are more used by people and what changes we should do in order to change the product to be more appealing to our consumers. So we correlate positive words in marketing because they have more impact on our brain. Usually when we present a product, we try not to use the "is not that expensive." We should present it into a simpler and better way, like "it's cheap" or "it's profitable," because both cheap and profitable have a bigger resonance into the consumer mind rather than expensive. So we should not use, or we should better avoid phrases that start with the word no. So otherwise, the phrase such as "you won't lose your money" is more expressive if we're going to use it as "you can save your money" or "you can win money." And this is going to have more impact on the consumer behavior. So, having that in mind, I'm going to go further to the most representative researches. And here, the most significant researches when it comes to frequencies were found in diverse domains of activity, from physics to scientific experiments or law of attraction. These were all combined in order to find the existent or non-existent relation between the mentioned concepts and marketing. So, for example, Pythagoras, he supported that mathematics form the basics of all things in their existence, and the numbers are the essence of creation. So that's why we transformed the saying of words into frequency, into hertz, because we can measure it with numbers. So we can make sense of it through numbers. And then on the other side, we have Dr. Masaru Emoto, and he has made a difference between the positive words and negative ones, affected by the frequencies of those near water when a word was spoken, written, or thought and directed to it. So I think his study is well known, where the atoms of water made a nice shape when he said words like love or happiness, and a very messy shape when the words like hate were addressed, for example. So having that in mind, we go to the research proposal, and the purpose of the study is to reflect more on positive words and marketing context, spoken or written, and how do they affect the consumer. And our objectives are to measure the intensity of the spoken words and vibration, to determine the vibration of words spoken into Zen state of mind context, to determine the vibration of words spoken into a marketing state of mind context, and to identify the emotions and sensation of these words in terms of positivity. So we go further to the research proposal. The method we used was a composite method. The first method we used was qualitative. So we had to select it from the literature review, a number of 30 words. And then we asked the specialists to rank them in order to select the most representative positive words used for selling and marketing. So the respondents, they had to rank these 30 words from with a number from 1 to 5, and the 5 from the top were these ones: health, results, fun, money, and solution. And the second method is a quantitative method and is represented by an experiment. So this research presents the causal relationship between the vibrations presented as the Zen state and the marketing state. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about the experiment in just a few minutes. So about the instrument and sample, the sample for the research part was 20 individuals. We had 13 women and 7 men, and we had 13 Romanians and 7 Americans. And we have been used an application which records and presents the frequency of words spelled, and it is called Audio Spectrum Analyzer DB-RTA. And here about the before and the after experiment. So we had 2 scenarios. We had the Zen state and the marketing state. And the respondents, they had to say those 5 words that I presented to you before after they were introduced into these states. So, for example, to induce the Zen state of mind, the subjects in this experiment had to answer 3 questions, which asked them about their favorite place, their favorite song, and to write the lyrics of that song. And in this particular context, they are asked to pronounce all the words selected by us, so the 5 words I presented earlier. And we presented these words in writing, and they had to record themselves while saying those words. So this was happening in the Zen state of mind. And then we went to the second part of the experiment, and we induced them the shopping to present a scenario such as they are in the supermarket and they want to buy products for their home. And by doing that, they will bring the marketing stage into their mind. Then we ask them to record themselves while saying the words chosen that have been integrated into images with products presented as. So the images are chosen specifically with the same words included as in the Zen state. So this experiment called before and after shows the outcomes between the two perspectives, the Zen state and the marketing state. So the results gathered are represented by the estimations of the vibrations that results between the contrast of the two states. And we're arrived at the results. And as we can see here, in table 8, we have the comparison of the mnesic score between the frequencies. So this mnesic score is actually the ranking they did at the beginning, and we arranged the hierarchy based on the mnesic score. And here we can observe that for the Romanians, the highest frequency in the Zen state when words are in English has the word solution. And the lowest one is for fun in the Zen state of mind. And when talking about marketing state of mind, the highest word is health. As you can see right here is 81. And the lowest one is money. So here, 49. And when Romanians speak Romanian, the highest frequency in the Zen state has the word results, as we can see here. And the lowest one was for money, as we can see here. And while for the marketing state of mind, the highest one was solution, and the lowest one was for money. And for the Americans, the highest frequency in the Zen state was the word health. And the lowest one was the word money. And for the marketing state of mind, the highest is the word fun here, and the lowest one is health. And in comparison to table number 9, which is the comparison of the intensity of the voice in decibels, we can notice that in terms of intensity of voice, in the Zen context, the Romanian words have a lower intensity than in the marketing context, except from health. And for the Americans, the words have a higher vibration in marketing state, except for the words result and money. So this is just a brief, I showed you a brief of the results we had. And going to conclusions, we have noticed that there is a difference between the vibrations of the word while they are pronounced by the same subjects in different languages. So in our case, Romanian subjects that spoke words in their mother tongue and in English, even they were fluent in the foreign language, the word vibrated differently. And we have noticed that in Zen state and in marketing or shopping state, the same words pronounced by the same subjects vibrated differently. That means that the context or the state of mind can influence the vibration of the words. And these conclusions repeated when the data was collected for the intensity of the voice. So there is a variation measured in decibels for the same words, but pronounced in different languages or in different contexts. Zen versus marketing. And we also had some limitations for this research, and this consisted in we had to limit our interactions and interventions with the sample because in terms of the interviews because of the COVID-19. And then the experiment itself has been hard to be conducted because there wasn't any similar research made before. And it was also difficult to find an application which could measure all the metrics we initially wanted to determine. And thank you very much for your attention.
We also thank Alexandra. She's a PhD student and she's in the process of developing this research, which is really interesting, and we are wishing her a lot of good luck in her work. Okay, what's next? Next, we have some short messages, and we would invite some persons that are in the maritime sector to address some thoughts, some nice opinions for the seafarers which are on board vessel. So I invite now Angelica Bailon. Are you able to hear us, Angelica? Well, she sent this short video for seafarers.
I'm Angelica Bailon, Director of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific and PAEP Chair Emeritus. Life at sea indeed requires mental resilience. Seafarers learn and they get better with time and experiences. My advice to our dear seafarers is to always remember and be guided by the serenity prayer in any challenges. Pray that God grant you serenity, courage, and wisdom. Serenity to accept things that you cannot change. We don't see COVID, but it's there, which is not within our control. Courage to change the things you can, meaning to focus more on things that you can control or change. And wisdom to know the difference. You can either choose to be depressed or choose to be happy. Focus more on solutions rather than problems or challenges. It is very important to manage yourselves first, especially your thoughts, before you can help others. Stay safe and healthy and yet very productive. Thank you.
We also thank Angelica for her input, and we further have another short message from another person from Seafarers Turkey.
We can't hear the sound.
Sorry. You can't hear? Let me see. Just a second.
Hello everyone, I am Hülya, co-founder of Seafarers Platform, and I am also a chief officer who's working on container vessels. As you know, the restrictions have left over 400 seafarers stranded by the sea and the same number of seafarers unable to join the ships. I am a seafarer, yes, and we are constantly thinking about our loved ones, those back home, and relaxing at the end of the contract. Our job is so stressful, but if we did not put in the work, our loved ones and the people would not have access to most things they see around. This is a global crisis, and we are the key workers. We as Seafarers Platform standing by all seafarers. Smooth and safe seas. Goodbye.
Okay, very nice message from her. We also have some other messages from important persons. For example, from the ITF. Just confirm whether you can hear it.
The COVID-19 pandemic imposed measures to implement IMO recommendation on the designation of seafarers as key workers to ensure their free movements in all countries of the world, access to the airlines and vaccination was priority. In Romanian all ports, no restrictions are imposed on seafarers in terms of crew change. The Romanian Welfare Port Committee decided to visit the ships berthed to donate personal protective equipment to the crew, phone cards with internet including, in order to give the possibility to contact their families. Another major problem is that seafarers cannot go ashore, which create mental problems for them too. Pandemic affected seafarers. Some develop mental problems from increasing aggression or depression. In some cases, the ship owners go bankrupt, and thus the ships remain abandoned in different ports, which leads to amplification of the distortion of the mental health condition, their family being also very affected.
Okay, so you also saw the representative of the International Transport Workers Federation from Romania, and we also have some other interesting inputs. I will just try to make the share. Hopefully the technical device will help me with this. Okay. Please confirm whether you can see it or not. Okay, we have Julian with us, Julian Carson, and I'm trying to open her video, but I think I have some issue with that. Julian, are you still there online with us?
Yes, I am actually. I might be able to share my video.
Please do. Please do.
Let me see if I can get my video up. 1 second, please.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just find it here.
So Julian is the president of the Nautical Institute from Australia. Meanwhile, can you tell us what is the work of the Nautical Institute? Why the work of Nautical Institute is very important for seafarers?
Certainly, I can tell you a bit about that. I have my video up as well, and I will try to put that on in a minute. But just to tell you a little bit about the Nautical Institute. The Nautical Institute is the organization for maritime professionals. It is a professional organization that has over 7,000 members around the globe, working through branch networks and also through professional networks. The headquarters for the Nautical Institute has a very small secretariat in London, but really the power of the branches comes through, power of the membership comes through the branches. And it's a wonderful opportunity to grow and to extend your professional network and also your expertise. The Nautical Institute also has a number of maritime services that are available for members with free training from Videotel. The Seaways magazine might be one of the best known aspects of the Nautical Institute, and also our other publications such as the Navigator and some books. Now I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Now I'm not sure if that will work. Let's see, am I allowed to share my screen and share audio? I'll give that a try. Now, which screen is it? A second. Try one more time. I think I shared the wrong screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try playing, and you let me know if you can hear it.
Greetings to all of you from Canberra, Australia. At times, it may have felt like 2020 would never end. It has been a year unlike any other. The world has continued to face many challenges: fires, droughts, flooding, severe weather events, and a global pandemic. It has been a strange, difficult, yet enlightening time. we have seen so much good come from these challenges. Personal connections, professional connections, and global connections. We cannot change the fact that we are continuing to experience a global pandemic, but we can control how we react, how we interact with each other. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all seafarers, both afloat and ashore, for your continuing professionalism, resilience, and patience. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and know that you and your work are valued. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julian. Very nice words. We further have another, hopefully, video. Yeah. Tell me, please, if you can hear it. Can you hear? Can you see it or hear it?
No.
Okay, so we also have with us from Iran the IMO Goodwill Ambassador, Miss Yosra Hoveizavi, and she sent us a very nice video recording, and I'll be trying to share it with you. Okay. So can you see it now?
No.
I think
the screen, but the video is just black.
Okay, so we will try later. Meanwhile, I would like to say some words on my own research. Please tell me if you can see the screen.
Yes.
Great, great. So the study, the research I am delivering now is relating to changing perceptions on safety during long voyages like the ones that are happening due to pandemics. And we all know that safety is important, and safety does matter a lot. But what we would not think first of all would be the safety culture. So why safety culture is important? Well, because it should be implemented at the level of the entire company, at the level of the ship, and every persons involved in the organization should acknowledge the safety culture and make a routine by thinking and acting safely. So there was this report released in 2020, and I will not lose much time on the speaking about. You can search it by Google. The idea is there are plenty of accidents due to safety, even though the rate of these accidents slightly dropped from last year to now. And also the safety issues are international and global, no matter the nationality of the seafarer. What is important to emphasize is the fact that in 2019, an important association was made between various shipping industry representatives, various companies, and it's the first time that the industry communicates and shake hands in order to develop a safety culture charter. And you can see here those 20 companies. It is not the brand which is important, but is those 90,000 seafarers that those companies represent. So we are expecting certain safety resilience and involvement related to safety culture within their companies and on the vessels representing such companies. And in our studies, we have developed a short assessment survey formed by 4 questions, and we thought half of this very short survey assessment should refer to the seafarers, and the second part should refer to the leaders. So this quick tool enables in discovering whether your organization have a safety culture or is in the process of implementing a safety culture, even if the manager of the organization would not think about that. So the first question would be: seafarers believe safety drills and procedures are necessary and important. For persons outside the maritime sector, drills, I will explain shortly what drills are. Drills are those exercises that are mandatory to be organized on board vessel in order to practice situations of high risk, in order to practice the action and the involvement of the crew during safety moments like fire or abandonment of ship or other risks. So a second question would be: seafarers can freely communicate their safety concerns with their leader or to their manager. Third question in our short assessment tool is referring to the leaders. Leaders invest in educating and motivating seafarers about safety goals, and leaders take full responsibility when safety incidents occur. So these 4 main questions are about inquiring whether in your organization are the basis of a healthy safety culture. If you can further grow up this type of culture and implement it to all the levels of your organization. And we've developed further part of our study when we have invited our colleague Alexandra to give us 4 pictures of herself in the same exercise, in the same drill for passengers evacuation during a safety incident. So I've asked Alexandra to, in the first picture, to address the message to proceed to climb up the stairs in order to do the evacuation. And in the second image, she did the same invitation, the same remark to the persons involved in the drill, and further she did thought to make innovation, to deliver something new, something besides the ordinary ongoing drill. So she thought what would be the situation if she would add to her message, to her vocal message, one written message, like the message you can see it here in her hands. And in the fourth picture, she thought to develop more this drill, this evacuation drill, this exercise, and to combine both the spoken message to the written message. And I've asked a share of participants to this study to tell us their opinion whether which one of these 4 images, the first, the second, the third, or the fourth, is more effective for understanding the what the persons involved in the exercise should do. So so far we have identified mostly that the fourth picture is the most effective, and I would encourage our viewers who are watching now this event to write in the chat, if they are able to, which of these 4 images, these 4 situations would be most effective in the case they would be a passenger on that vessel, and if they should be evacuated. If the first or the second situation, when the officer is not showing a written message, is enough, or if she used her innovation and she proposed something extra to the exercise and shows this written message in her hands. Okay, and in the further part of our study, we have identified some key aspects of charisma of safety, and we have concluded that leader sharing charisma of safety should establish and share a mission of safety and clear safety goals within their organization and also on board vessel. Also, awareness should be raised about the safety mission, and the leader should convince seafarers or followers, if it's the case of the shore company, to assume and enjoy safety. Unfortunately, safety exercises like drills, like these exercises, are often perceived by seafarers like something mandatory and not desired to, because obviously would consume the rest time. So we have to find ways to switch this perception from negative to positive, and that's why I've invited previously the other Alexandra Gelea to present her study on the marketing positive words and the Zen state and the other state, in order to emphasize the role of the positive words here, the positive words that should be used by the safety security officer and also by the leader of onboard vessel. Also, the leader should increase safety commitment, should work together with other leaders and seafarers for common safety goals, should identify new opportunities to improve safety, should focus on safety continuous improvement, like the continuous improvement of management. Well, in this case, we would think to improving safety all the time. That would imply the participative management during drills. And we believe a very good way to involve the commitment of crew during safety drills is by asking them after the drill ends what would be their opinion, what would be their remarks and suggestion in order to improve that drill. And after the chief of the exercise would collect all their opinions, to the next occasion when they organize the same drill, the officer should include such suggestion in order to involve more the seafarers. And also, charisma of safety would imply to accept responsibility for safety incidents and to make sure it never happens again, and to empower seafarers to become safety ambassadors. Look, here is another interesting term that we would like to coin for the maritime sector. And also, leaders with charisma of safety on board are responsible to educate, are responsible to motivate seafarers on the company's safety goals. Well, in large, this would be my presentation for today. We still have some other messages, but possible our technical instruments today are not very friendly with us. Is no problem. We definitely should repeat this event, this academic event, and we should send all our best words to the seafarers which are now on board vessel, to all the marine personnel and also to their families which are away from them and are not able to enjoy the holidays with them. And in the end, I would also would like to share a video. Please confirm whether you can see it or not. Okay.
Countless seafarers stranded at sea across the globe, mentally and physically fatigued, away from their family and friends. They keep doing their job so as to ensure that finished goods and raw materials are still traded at sea across the globe. Mentally and physically fatigued, away from their family and friends, they keep doing their job so as to ensure that finished goods and raw materials are still traded and the global supply chain is still running. Without your hard work, many industries would shut down, leaving countless people unemployed. It is now universally acknowledged that it takes a joint effort of all parties involved to find the logistics of effectively solve the ongoing crew change crisis, as proven by the long list of countries that have designated seafarers as key workers. I strongly hope that the crew exchange will resume soon and all of you will be back safely and reunite your dear ones.
Okay, so
currently
this
countless seafarers
was the message of our rector of Constanța Maritime University, Professor Dr. Honoris Causa Cornel Panaid. He is also sending all the best wishes to all the seafarers across the globe, including to our own students and alumni and graduates. And also we have other messages, but I think we already are for 2 hours live, and it's a bit difficult to keep you there. But I would end this last event with some messages from your behalf, some other video from Alexandra Ciucanu, and if she is on live and she can broadcast it, would be really, really great. Can you?
Yes, Christina, I am live. I don't know if you are able to see me because I think we need permission from my camera or something. I'm not sure about it.
Okay, then just let me see if I can end our event today with your video, and hopefully would be really good to share all your good vibes to all the persons on board the ship.
And you hear this.
Can you hear it?
Yes, it's hearable.
Okay, it's a very tough and interesting record. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so I'm not sure if I can use this last presentation of yourself.
Well, I don't know what happened. Anyways, afterwards.
Okay, so we will use all your materials or your recordings for the next event. Thank you very much for being with us. I see there are also a large number of persons watching the live event, and you've been there for 2 hours, and it's a lot. And I'm sending all my best wishes to you. And if other speakers live here would like to add something for the ending words.
Thank you so much once again for the invitation, and I just wanted to wish safe holidays to everyone and to your families. Stay healthy, take care of yourselves, of your physical health and your mental health, and have a wonderful and peaceful New Year.
Okay, thank you. Vili, would you like to add something?
Yes, I would like to join in with thanking you, Christina, for organizing this marvelous event today. Thank you to the speakers. I have learned a lot today, so it was really useful. The only question that remains with me is how do we get all this knowledge and all these good hints to the seafarers on board so that they can make good use of it. So wish you all the very best for a good season and all the best for the coming year. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you very much, Vili. If there is someone else who would like to address some words, Angelica, can you hear us? Or other guests? If not, well, we will just end this presentation here, but definitely we have to do it again because we have a lot of messages for all the seafarers across the globe, which are through these difficult moments. We are thinking to them and we are wishing them very all the best to them and to their families. Okay, have a pleasant holidays and stay safe. Bye.